actually do remember that in the last room of the hospital, I just kept saying to myself and to other people and the doctors, I was like, am I going to be able to play? Like, when am I going to be able to play? In 6 months, will I be able to play? Because that's all I wanted to do. That's just what kept me going, honestly.
It's an inspiring comeback story from the volleyball court. Welcome back to She Got Game, where we highlight the incredible female athletes across North Texas. I'm Michelle Montaigne. 6 months ago, she was fighting for her life. For 14-year-old Harlow Delzell, volleyball isn't just a game, it's a lifeline. And today, we bring you the incredible story of a young athlete who went from a coma to the court, driven by faith, family, and an unshakable will to play.
Protect the pretty face with the hands.
Harlow Delzell lives for the game of volleyball.
There you go.
It's my happy place by far.
It's not just a game to her. It's where her soul takes flight.
Good reach.
In her young volleyball journey, no stage looms larger
I've worked so hard to get here.
or carries greater anticipation
I just know it's going to be a day heavy with emotions.
than the upcoming Adidas Lone Star National Qualifying Tournament here in Dallas. At just age 14, she's willed herself here.
It's finally here, and so am I.
Over an extended school weekend, Harlow traveled with family friends to their farmhouse near Temple, Texas.
He's going to bite you.
No, he's not.
After several fun-filled days surrounded by the majestic scenery of Central Texas, the group was finally hours from heading home.
I get a call at about noon on October 13th.
It was Lisa, the friend and neighbor, watching over Harlow.
She is frantic on the other end, and she said, Harlow's had an accident.
It's a parent's worst nightmare, getting that phone call.
She said, well, she fell off an ATV.
So I ran out to where they were, and she was just laying on the ground in the middle of the field. Her eyes were closed. I just started breathing into her, and her arms and legs would move if I was doing that. So I knew that she wasn't paralyzed.
We love you, Harlow. We just kept saying that over and over, and unbeknownst to us, she was literally in a coma.
Med one side.
A helicopter's coming to get her, and I think our world stopped in that moment.
Knew that she possibly had a brain bleed or a skull fracture, and she needed her airway to be taken over, so we elected to intubate her.
Be there in about 9 minutes if we can have a stretcher on the pad.
In Oklahoma for a birthday celebration, Harlow's family now is facing a frantic 5-hour drive. That is until a friend called, offering a lifeline.
I found somebody to fly you guys there. We had met the guy for 5 seconds. I hoped he was a pilot. I mean, he might have been the postman. We just got on the plane.
Pilot Colin Hatley volunteered his services, and within an hour, they were on the ground in Temple, Texas.
We arrived at the hospital. Harlow was in the ICU. She's intubated. She can't breathe on her own. Completely unresponsive.
And the doctors had warned us she may never wake up.
She really had injuries to almost every part of her brain. I've seen patients, they are bedridden, they can't eat, they can't talk, they can't move.
After 48 hours in a coma,
She sticks her hand through the hospital bed and says, love you.
to this day, Harlow remembers little.
We had water balloons in our hands, and we were spraying a spider, this really big spider. And then I looked to my left, and the boys were pulling up in the ATV, and we were playing against them, so we got scared and we ran, and I kind of blacked out after that, but that's all I remember.
Do you remember chasing the ATV?
Nope.
Weeks later, Harlow began intensive rehab at Children's Medical Center, Dallas.
I just kept saying to myself and to other people and the doctors, I was like, am I going to be able to play? Like, when am I going to be able to play?
Out, cross, yes, Harlow!
After enduring a life-changing trial, Harlow made her way back, ready to stand with her team one more time.
She had her mind made up that she was going to recover and she was going to play volleyball.
I was worried I wasn't really going to be able to not know how to play the game, but understand the game a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
It was a weekend full of emotions.
Yeah, girl!
But this woman gave me back my daughter. She gave me back my daughter, and I am so grateful.
For Harlow, it wasn't just a comeback to the game, it was a comeback to life itself.
It almost feels surreal that we're here.
Today, she plays with the heart of someone who knows what it means to fight for every moment. In Dallas, I'm Arnold Payne.
If you were moved by Harlow's incredible story, there's even more to hear. We sat down with Harlow, her parents, her coach, and of course the woman who helped save her life for an unfiltered look at the moments that changed everything.
How would you describe it? How would you describe this entire experience?
Traumatic. Mostly for other people, not really for me since I don't remember a lot of it, but my friends and my family, I think they might have the worst end of it. Like if I saw my friend go through what I had to go through that I don't remember, but very traumatic for them. I would live with that forever, and it's like a memory you just can't forget. Oh my gosh, the friends that were mostly there were McKenna and Charlotte, and obviously so many more of my friends. I just have such a great group of friends, and so many girls. They were so comforting, and I was asleep most of the time, as you can probably see in the photos, but they would just be around me, just like trying to be near me, because that's like, I don't know, it means so much to me. They're just so sweet.
Yeah, my son came running and just said, Harlow's hurt. And so I ran out to where they were, and she was just laying on the ground in the middle of the field. And even then I didn't know how bad it was, but when her eyes were closed and she wasn't moving, you know, I knew it was bad. We all started screaming her name, and I could tell that she was breathing, but I still started some CPR. I didn't want to hurt her chest. Luckily by then, I just started breathing into her, and her arms and legs would move if I was doing that. So I knew that she wasn't paralyzed, and I knew she was alive. But the kids were amazing. They obviously ran and got help right away. One called 911, one ran and got my husband. Everyone just kind of sprung into action, and I couldn't be prouder of them.
Well, let me ask you this. When you first approached Harlow on the ground, do you recall if she was breathing or not?
She appeared to be breathing. It was hard to tell because I was shaking, and so it's hard to like feel something, but we could tell that she was breathing, and so that's why we didn't want to move her because we didn't know what all was injured. So I felt like the safest thing to do was to do mouth to mouth, so I wasn't hurting anything further in the chest, and that's when, thank goodness, she moved, and it was like she was pushing me away, and it was the most beautiful feeling I've ever had, her trying to like push me away, because I just knew she was in there, and she was fighting, and so we just kept doing that, since that seemed to be the only thing that got a reaction. But she definitely did not open her eyes the entire time. I'll say Matt and Allison have been just a master class in how to handle life when something happens to you or your child. They have just been wonderful to the kids. I mean, before they even saw Harlow, they made sure our children knew that it was a terrible accident, and that they were loved, and that they were thankful that they were there to help her.
Specifically on that call, do you remember exactly what she said to you?
I do. Lisa kept saying, we've got her. We've got your girl. I'm not leaving her side. You get here whenever you can. I'm not leaving her side. And there was such an odd comfort in that, right? Like, I mean, if you can't be there, you want your friend to, someone, some human, let alone this amazing human friend that said, I've got her, I will not leave her side. And she had left the ranch even prior to the helicopter taking off because her husband was still there making sure everything was good. And Lisa got in her car and drove as fast as she could to that hospital.
Yeah, she performed 21 minutes of CPR on Harlow, which we have no doubt either saved her life or prevented brain damage. I'm certainly not a medical professional, but you go without oxygen, without breathing for that period of time, obviously. It's a very dangerous situation. So Lisa performed 21 minutes of CPR with the EMTs on speakerphone as they were walking her through it. She was waiting for the ambulance to get there and then the helicopter to get there. So, I mean, Lisa is an angel. She's a savior. She saved Harlow's life. There's no question in our minds. So for her to have that ability in that moment, it was incredible. You'd like to think you would be able to do the same thing if you saw, another child in distress like that you would be able to do the same thing. But for her to take action like that, and the other kids that were there, these are 14 and 15-year-old kids who sprung into action immediately. One of them ran to get Lisa. One of them called 911. They acted as perfect as you could act in a situation like that when one of your best friends is, laying on the ground near death.
What was that like when you first found out?
Traumatizing. I studied sports psychology in college, so I've learned a lot about the nuances of an athlete being stripped of the title athlete due to injury or just not making it to the next level or their time at that level expiring. The part about sports psychology came, I guess, a little bit later. Initially when Matt texted me that she'd been in an accident and was airlifted and had been intubated, it was pretty traumatizing. Harlow was a light for the team to be around as a teammate, as someone I was able to coach. So to hear that she was harmed as a mother was pretty traumatizing, and it was really scary. Wasn't a lot of progress at first. And then she woke up, and then, watching her journey, which feels like a lifetime, but also kind of overnight, fast, her miraculous recovery from, being awake for an hour a day to by the time I visited her in the hospital, she was up for spurts of time, and then she went home and she's put in the work with PT. She puts in the work by herself. She comes up here and puts in the work with her dad and with coaches. Just such a testimony to, I think, her faith and God's grace and her determination and her upbringing and just her as a person and a player. Obviously, there was a point in time where she didn't know if she was going to. She didn't know she wasn't going to play again. She was determined to play again, but where her being alive was, the milestone that we were, seeking. And then when playing again became a reality for her, she's told me April 13th she's coming back to play for months. And Sunday was April 13th, and her mom texted me the doctor's release, and she's like, I'll see you at practice tomorrow. Proud doesn't even begin to describe how I feel. And it really even has nothing to do with me, but if any person or little girl or young athlete can hear her story about recovering from something as traumatic as a traumatic brain injury, and that grit and that determination, I think a lot of people have a lot to look up to in her, including her brothers and her teammates.
Now, Harlow's story is still being written, but now every serve, every set, every game, it's all a celebration of the life that she nearly lost. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on She Got Game.